Yeah, I'm not dead. I rose from the dead to review this movie. Um, as you know, my name is Michael Jackson, but I also go by the world's biggest geek. And today I'm going to review, along with my fellow castmates here, my movie. Um, yeah, so let's get this show on the road, shall we? Uh, sorry, I almost forgot. Jamon! Hee hee! Okay, I'm done. My bit's over.
Okay.
My bit's over. Now it's time to put on my glasses. I have to turn. I'm turning back into the world's biggest geek. I am no longer Michael Jackson.
You got
Ugh.
possessed by Michael Jackson, like how Andy Kaufman possessed Jim Carrey. Totally, that's what actually happened, and didn't just give Jim Carrey an excuse to act like a total dick cheese on the set of Man on the Moon. But that's totally what happened.
But yeah, this review was long overdue. I'm gonna give like I always do in my when I'm hosting. I got to give a brief backstory to my origin story with the man who I am about to review. Um, when I was young, from when I was a wee weeny little lad. I don't really remember much, but what I do remember is that my aunt had this DVD called Michael Jackson Number Ones. I didn't know who Michael Jackson was, but I was, curious. The first song that I ever heard of Michael Jackson was "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough," and I was like, "Whoa, I've never heard music like this before." I thought he was the coolest person in the world. And then I started going down the rabbit hole of Billie Jean and then Smooth Criminal and then Bad and then all these other classics. And I was very enamored with the lore of Michael Jackson. When I first saw the moonwalk, I thought that was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Still one of the coolest things I've ever seen. If I learned how to do that, I wish that's one of the things I wish I learned how to do is moonwalk. I would spam that every 10 seconds. But I was I was born in 2003, so I was privileged enough to breathe the same oxygen as Michael Jackson. I never met him before, but I was alive while he was on he was on this earth while I was alive. And 2009 came, and I remember where I was in the living room with my parents and my little brother, and we saw in the news that Michael Jackson died. And I was pretty sad. I was crying. I was really torn up about it. And years and years and years down the line, I became more enamored with Michael Jackson. I learned more about his story, learned more about the controversies. I learned more about, just the stuff that made him not only a controversial figure, but also a legendary figure in the world of music. And what's up, Joey? Um, And I must say, when it comes to Michael Jackson, I think that he is by far the greatest artist, musical entertainer that's ever lived. I feel like when it comes to the impact and the influence that Michael Jackson has had on music, everyone from once Michael Jackson became a big thing, everyone copied something from Michael, whether it's his wardrobe or his look. Well, sorry, well, look and wardrobe is the same thing. But his wardrobe, the way that he, danced, the influence from his music videos, the way that the certain sounds that he would use for his music. Like Michael Jackson has influenced practically a lot of people in the music industry, and obviously with the way that the music industry is today, I still listen to Michael Jackson to this day because literally his music is timeless. You could play any of his music in today's setting and it would still be a banger. It's impossible to not listen to a Michael Jackson song and not want to dance at the same time. Except for maybe one song, She's Out of My Life. I honestly don't know how you can dance to that, but I don't know. I've seen people dance to crazier songs. But with today's climate, we are also in a very new era. We are in an era of biopics. Within the last 10 years, we have gotten numerous biopics, whether it's musical biopics, celebrity biopics, and but with both musical biopics, we have gotten a buttload of biopics from NWA to Whitney Houston to Bohemian. I said Bohemian Rhapsody, Queen to
Elton John,
Yankovic to
Bob Marley.
Elton John to like
Robbie Williams,
to Bob Dylan to Bruce Springsteen, and like and throughout all these projects, I felt that it was inevitable that Michael Jackson would end up becoming one of those people. My favorite music biopic is the Beach Boys. Oh, I didn't even know they made the Beach Boys. It was kind of
do plan on watching The Doors eventually.
I think it was kind of inevitable for.
Also, he's talking about Love and Mercy. Love and Mercy. It's not really about the Beach Boys. It's more about Brian Wilson. But Love and Mercy is the best biopic of all time, and it's not close.
Oh, you don't think Ray's better?
I haven't seen Ray.
Oh, well, yeah. I think it was kind of inevitable for Michael Jackson to end up being done on the big screen. It has been done before numerous times, and the best one out of all of them was a miniseries back in the 90s. I think it was in 1993. No, 1992. It was 1992. It was called The Jacksons, The American Dream. And we had two portrayals of the famous musician, one by Willie Draper, may he rest in peace, and the other one, which was young Michael, Jason Weaver. And with Jason Weaver and Willie Draper, they were phenomenal as their particular counterparts of Michael Jackson, especially Willie Draper. I remember seeing that docuseries or that miniseries when I was younger, and I thought that was Michael Jackson. I legitimately thought that was Michael Jackson doing that. And
we don't talk about Man in the Mirror.
Yeah, we don't talk about Flex Anderson. Yeah, that was a disgrace. And
apparently there was like an episode of a show with Joseph Fiennes playing Michael Jackson that was also so bad it never got released. So there was
because they had a white guy play Michael.
Oh yeah, no, that's ridiculous. But yes, Willie Draper kind of unanimously had the title of the best portrayal as Michael Jackson, at least adult Michael Jackson. So when Michael was announced, obviously, we all were wondering as Michael Jackson fans, but me specifically, because I would say I would like to consider myself the biggest Michael Jackson fan out of all of these guys. I would say that obviously the biggest question was, who the fuck is playing Michael Jackson? You can't just pick anyone off the street. You can't just pick any Joe Schmo off the street. And wait, there's a lot of like chats right now. Hey, right, dude. Yeah, I forgot about This Is It. Yeah, This Is It. Like the movie in theaters. Has anyone ever seen the 1998 TV biopic movie about the Temptations? I haven't, but I've seen clips, and the guy who played David Ruffin was really, really good. The guy from So Curious is on here. Sorry, I'm terrible with names. What was I? The question that I think everyone was wondering is who the hell was going to play Michael Jackson, because you can't just pick any random Joe Schmo off the street. We've seen it with Man in the Mirror, that you can't just pick any random actor. When we found out that it was going to be Jermaine Jackson's son, Jafar Jackson, I looked at him and I was like, you know what? I'm sold. They got someone within the family. They got someone who kind of resembles to Michael, and with his voice and his singing voice, the man can sing, he can dance. He's actually a musical artist. I listened to a song of his. It was actually really, really good. So now that we had our Michael, we had our Michael Jackson, obviously the expectations, which I guess we can talk about the expectations. John, what would you say your expectations were for this film when it was announced and with Jafar like being the playing the
Um,
legend himself.
I had relatively higher hopes, like because the thing is, it had a lot of great people behind it. You had Antoine Fuqua directing. You had John Logan writing. Um, and you had Jafar Jackson. Like it seemed like it was on the way to be like a genuinely great biopic, but as like time went on, it kind of went downhill a bit. But I was still relatively excited. For the most part because it seemed like it was going to be more than just a run of the mill generic crap fest. Even with the negative reviews that were coming out about it, I was still relatively excited, even though it was not nearly as much as when it was initially announced. But for the most part, I was like, I was pretty excited for it because it seemed like it was going to be more. But obviously, we'll get into that later when we get into our positives mixed and negatives.
Yeah. Devin, we were talking about expectations. So yeah, what was your expectations for the movie when it was first announced and with Jafar being casted as his uncle?
My expectations were pretty low, and it's not just because it's Michael Jackson. I mean, I do really like his music. It's mainly just because I don't like music biopics. Like outside of like a couple I can name, like outside of stuff like Rockin' Man or Better Man. Music biopics, man. Like music biopics nowadays, they're just so predictable, so formulaic, and so generic. I had a feeling this was going to be more of the same, even with the good crew behind it. And I thought it was interesting that they casted his nephew to play him. Considering that Jafar has never acted in anything before. But I saw that trailer. I'm like, okay, these trailers look decent. And I see Jafar as his uncle, and I said it out loud, and I'll say this later in the review. I'm not looking at someone playing Michael. It's like Michael came back from the dead. But the negative reviews came out, and that was when I started to get worried again. Not to mention the movie was only 2 hours, and that made me scared. Like, oh god, they're gonna skim through so much, and it's gonna be rushed. Where I think someone like Michael, for a person like Michael, I think he should get like a 4 hour, like 4 to 3 hour like musical epic. But that's just me. But I definitely, I mean, I saw the movie when it came out. And I definitely let my thoughts set up over time.
So okay, well, I guess I'm the only one that has to give my expectations, but I think when it came to me, when I saw the trailer, I mean, these guys can attest to this. I was really high on this film. Like if people remember way back when we thought this movie was going to be coming out like in 2025, I had expectations of saying, oh, you know what? No, not even 2025, 2024. Because wait, no, 2025, because yes, this was supposed to come out the same year as Superman. So I had expectations of this being the best film of the year. And I had I had my reasons. I gave my what I wanted. I gave I gave down everything that I wanted out of this movie. And yeah, I had really high expectations because yes, like Devin said, I think that music biopics are very predictable. They're pretty much just a greatest hits, a film with just the greatest hits, and they pretty much gloss over a lot of stuff, and they go to the great, the best moments of said person's career. Be like, oh, we have to check off this, or we have to check off this, we have to check off this. But well, Michael Jackson, I wanted this movie to happen purely because of how big his name is, and I wanted them to really tackle the stuff that was very like heavy, which we'll get to later. But yeah, my expectations really were high, but then as like things went on with the fact that it wasn't going to be a 4-hour movie, and I wanted it to be a 4-hour movie, it wasn't going to tackle the allegations that like it was going to. We weren't getting Janet Jackson in the film, which I won't even talk about the stuff that's like. I'm just going to simply just talk about stuff that I heard about. The reviews and then hearing about certain things. I was a little bit worried which, you know, but I still had hope. But I guess we can, you know, transition to positives because, you know, how much more can we really talk about the expectations? But also wait. I met expectations. Most music biopics have been so mediocre and bland. I learned to lower my expectations and not expect anything risky or artistic. I mean, that's
We're
pretty
on
good.
the same way.
Yeah. But positives. So yeah, positives. And I actually made a list. I made a list of things that we're gonna tackle, at least for me, that is. So I made a list of what I liked, what I didn't like / inaccuracies / what was missing, and I won't get into the third section.
Sorry, Dad, I don't mean to interrupt, but Rob could not join us because he's at work. He sent me his what his expectations are.
Oh yeah, play it.
Yeah, he just sent it.
Oh yeah.
So guys, yeah, sorry I couldn't be on for this one either. I'm currently at work. I'm on my break right now, but I just want to get my quick thoughts on the movie Michael. So let me go and start with my expectations. First of all, let me state that I am what you would consider a casual Michael Jackson fan. I pretty much I wasn't raised on his kind of music. But I do know that I was really into it, when I got to middle school, high school. In fact, my favorite song from him is definitely "Man in the Mirror." So that song is just so powerful. I love it. And in fact, honestly, I remember the summer that he died, which was pretty much 2009. This was the summer. The summer of 2009 was the year for hell when the Green Reaper was just so busy, just so many celebrities just dying left and right. So
In 2016.
I remember how much of an impact that he left. I remember watching the funeral live. I remember, and hell, I even remember watching the 2009 documentary "This Is It," which actually came with his with soundtrack. So I'm what you would call a casual fan. So when it comes to this movie, my expectations were kind of iffy. I wasn't sure what they were gonna do, and I wasn't sure who was gonna play Michael. When I first heard that it was gonna be his nephew, I had a little bit of hope. But the one thing that really, really scared me though was the fact that a lot of musical biopics pretty much are just generic paint by numbers. In fact, there's ones like the Bob Marley one or the Whitney Houston movie, where it's pretty much paint by numbers. Hey, this is how this person got into music. Hey, this is how they got their first start. This is how this song was made. This is how this song was made. This was how the person was turning to someone who was clearly a bad influence and turned everyone else away. The person learned their lesson, pretty much shoved the bad influence away, pretty much got back together for one more concert, and
So basically, Bohemian
then the
Rhapsody.
movie ends with a big concert and just saying this person died. So it's just I've seen this kind of thing before, and it's honestly just the one thing that really annoys me about musical biopics. I always prefer ones that try to do something different. Ones like Rocket Man, I love Rocket Man and things like that. So, but yeah, but those were my expectations. But I was still willing to give it an open mind, give it a fair chance. Maybe this will surprise me. I mean, there's pretty much a lot you could do with talking about Michael Jackson. And what do I think of it? Well, you'll just have to tune in and wait.
All right. Well, hey, great. I mean, hey, I agree with everything that Rob said.
He
I
basically
agree with
described Bohemian
everything.
Rhapsody.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, as far as the third section, I will leave that as a surprise. But mine's pretty quick. I'll talk about what I did like. So, what I liked, Jafar Jackson's performance as Michael was fucking amazing. It was perfection. I'm telling you, when I saw him on screen, I immediately did. I forgot that I was watching Jafar Jackson. Like I was like, oh, this is Michael. Obviously, he's not gonna look dead on like Michael, but he was pretty accurate as Michael. The dialect, the mannerisms, the dancing, even the singing, because there are times where you can hear Jafar singing and it sounds just like his uncle. I think one of my favorite moments, I think maybe the best sequence from the film is the ending actually when he performs bad. And for a fun fact, that is the first scene that he ever shot as Michael Jackson. That is the first scene, no acting experience at all. And that is the first scene that he ever filmed as his uncle. If we are talking, and that, as far as first tries go, I mean, that was pretty freaking perfect. Another thing that I liked, I don't know the actor's name, but I think his name starts with Julian. The kid who played young Michael, also amazing. I think when it comes to nailing young Michael, he was awesome. Especially with his mannerisms, especially because back when Michael was a kid, he was the way that he danced back then was massively different than how he danced as an adult. And you know, there were certain mannerisms that he did as a kid that were done to a T in this movie, and I thought was done amazing. Another thing that I liked, Coleman Domingo's performance is Joseph Jackson, who is the father of the Jackson family. He is, oh man, to say that he's a ruthless person, I feel like it's doing him a disservice. He is like the devil, basically, and Coleman Domingo, man, like the way, like, and I loved Coleman Domingo as an actor. I hated him in this movie, like, and that's a good thing. Like, he played him so well that he was so like, you know, hateable. And I was in a theater with a lot of people, and people were reacting to like the things that Coleman Domingo was saying, that you know Joseph was saying in the film, and they were gasping and be like, Another thing I liked, the choreo. I'm gonna rapid fire now. I love the choreography. I love the arc between Michael and his father and him finally breaking free of his control. I like, you know, in the beginning, he couldn't look him in the eye and tell him how he wanted to do a solo album, but then towards the end, he finally looked his dad in the eye and, you know, stood his ground. The costumes and the set designs, amazing. Final scene was perfect. The human nature performance, chef's kiss. Like, when it comes to performances, I think that's my second favorite performance outside of the bad performance. I like the detail of Michael having vitiligo all over his body in certain scenes. Like, you know, they didn't shy away from showing that he did have vitiligo. As fucked up as this sounds, the Pepsi incident was done very well. I really liked the way that it was shot and the frantic and, you know, jolted camera work that it like to really hit home how serious of a moment this was for Michael's career. Because, you know, as many people have said, the Pepsi incident was literally done at the halfway point of his life. Like, he was 25 years old, 14 days, 100 something about like that, and then literally halfway after that he died. So that's really like that's just some weird, like, you know, crazy stuff. But yeah, the Pepsi incident was done really well, and I like the beaded choreography scene. I thought seeing his genius and seeing him, you know, come up with things on the fly, I thought that was really impressive. But unfortunately, that is where my list ends with what I liked. But everyone else, yeah, let's.
I would say, like, in terms of like the biggest positives for me were easily Jafar and Coleman, you know, as Michael and Joe. Like I was saying, like I alluded to in the beginning when I was talking about my expectations. When I'm watching this movie, I'm seeing Jafar. I said to myself, "That's Michael. That's Michael." Like, he looks, acts, sounds, and moves just like his uncle. Like, it's perfect. Like, you can tell that Jafar probably spent a good amount of time, you know, with him, you know, before he died. So like he nailed everything about his uncle. Coleman Domingo, he is intimidating and scary as Joe Jackson. Like the dude is, I'm pretty sure everyone agrees here. Joe Jackson is fucking scum, and if there was a hell, he's definitely there. I didn't beat my kid. Shut the fuck up. Like fuck you, bro.
Yeah, like Joseph was very like the one thing, and I mean the only thing that I can give him credit for, and we have to acknowledge it, no matter how much of a terrible person he was. The man did, he created the Jackson 5. I mean, shit. He created the Jackson 5. I mean, his he whatever he did, it worked. I mean, he made the group and whatnot and all that. I mean, I'm trying my best to not give him too much praise, but we got to give him some credit.
But I'm trying to remember who was the actress that played his mom.
Nia Long.
Nia Long, she was great. She was great as Katherine Jackson. I loved the scenes with her and Michael. Like they were very sweet. Like you bought the like the mother son bond. I thought Miles Teller was good as John Bronca. Giuliano Valdi as the younger Michael. I thought he was great. I just like with Jafar, I definitely see a career for him. I also really liked Kalen Jones as his longtime bodyguard, Bill Bray. Like I thought he was great. I thought the cinematography looked great. I thought the musical sequences were great. Like where you were saying what Joey was saying, Human Nature is one of my favorite Michael songs. I love that sequence. I will admit, like in my seat, I'm hearing the songs, and I will admit I'm kind of like dancing in my seat like everyone else in my theater. There were certain scenes that did hit very well, like with like during the Pepsi commercial incident where when Michael got burned, you see him in the hospital, with the other like burn victims. Like I thought that scene was sweet, and I also loved the ending where and I will admit I did love when they're at the victory tour and Michael does the whole this is our final tour, and he's saying this as he's looking dead at Joseph, and because throughout most of the movie, he's scared of his dad. He doesn't even look him in the eyes half the time. But that scene, I felt like that was a moment where I felt like Crunk. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. But in terms of my positives, that's really it, because I'm gonna be honest, I did not like this movie.
So for me, my positives, as many have said, the performances were all very good. Like Jafar Jackson was good as Michael. It wasn't just like he acted like him. There was little notes here and there, like for instance, like when he is about to get his solo career started, and he's talking about the album, like there's little bits like in his eyes and in his like mannerisms and in his like body language, like when Joseph is brought up that he has to talk to him about it, and like that kind of thing. So I like how there's little instances of like him like wincing and that kind of thing. So it's not like all the way throughout. I'm not gonna act like it's an Oscar worthy performance, but like it's still more. It's better than people would think it would be, instead of just like, oh, it's a mimicry performance or an impression performance, or it's just like, oh, he's just playing Michael. Oh, he just sounds like Michael. He looks like. I mean, there are many people that can do Michael. so it's not like, oh, it's special. But even then, it's like, oh, it's not special. But I think there is a performance there that helps elevate it a little bit more. And then you had the idea of like the idea of him and his father, like that whole like arc. It was decently well executed. I mean, it could have been better, but like I thought it was pretty good. Joseph Jackson, Coleman Domingo playing him fucking did an incredible job because with how much of a fucking sack of shit he was. So that was good. Neil Long was good. Miles Teller was good. The young Michael, all the performances, again, they're not the greatest ever, but they're good for what they're given. I think like mainly with the music sequences, like where he's like singing, or he's whether it's with the Jackson Five or by himself. I thought those were good. It had bits and pieces here and there that were like very good. Um, and then I really I again, it's kind of feeds into more of a negative, but I'll get to that when I get to that. But with what we got, like I like the scene where he's like doing the choreography for Beat It. Like stuff like that is something that is almost never in music biopics, and that's the mind of the musician. Like rarely do we ever get like a genuinely good and thought out scene of like them and their craft. It's just like, oh, insert a popular song here, a montage. Oh, this is how they did it. Like, oh, they came up with this genius thing that everybody loves in like 2 seconds. While here, it's like you actually do see like there was a build up to this, and this was like as close to the final product as you can get, and that was very good. I liked that. And then I did like there was an enjoyability factor I liked about it. Is it great? No, but like I still enjoyed myself. Like the performance at the very end of the movie with him in London was really great. Fucking blew the socks off the Dolby theater I was in. Um, so that was great. Again, the music's phenomenal. Like it had a little bit here a little bit more than something like Bohemian Rhapsody, but still not great. But yeah, so performances, music, some of the cinematography, bits and pieces of like character arcs and writing, but um yeah, those are my positives. I would say those are pretty much my positives for the most part.
All right. Well, as far as positives are out of the way, I think I should go last as far as like my section because I have a lot to say. So if you whichever one wants to start about as far as like the negatives, I guess I'll just go to the negatives because like I mean, I have a lot to say.
I got thoughts. I got thoughts. Um, Performances, cinematography, musical sequences aside, this is exactly what I feared it to be. This is yet another generic. Oh God damn it! Fucking forgot again. I gotta play Rob's positives.
Oh,
Shit. Fuck. Oops. Here. Here's right to use positives.
Okay, so let me get the first thing the first thing obvious out of the way. Jafar Jackson, he does an amazing job as Michael. I feel like he would clearly make his uncle proud. Honestly, when I was watching this movie, I didn't really see an actor playing Michael Jackson. I really felt like I was watching Michael Jackson. And honestly, I could say the same thing with Coleman Domingo. Coleman Domingo, he is a phenomenal actor. Um, it sucks that he hasn't won any kind of best acting awards. He was nominated, but I digress. Um, he is just a phenomenal actor. He does a great job playing Joseph Jackson, the piece of shit father, who is pretty much running through Michael Jackson, Michael, when he was going through the Jackson 5. So I thought he did a really great job. with the performance. Cinematography was well done, and and of course the music, it pretty much does fit a lot of Michael Jackson. Like, it really does feel like a lot of the music, it was like very 70s, a lot of 70s and 80s, when because this clearly takes place anywhere between when Jackson 5 started, or when Michael Jackson started in the Jackson 5 up until the Bad Tour. So so those are like the positives. So
All right. So back to my negatives. Like I was saying before, I forgot to read play Rob's positives. I got my bad, bro. This is yet another generic vanilla paint by numbers sanitized biopic. This was exactly what I feared it to be. And if you're doing a movie about the king of motherfucking pop, what the movie shouldn't be is generic and predictable. Like, this hits all of the biopic hallmarks. Like how it starts off with him getting ready to play a show, and then it cuts to his childhood. And then he talks about wanting to branch out and go solo. And he's got someone holding him back. And then he breaks away from that person holding him back. And then he becomes the big superstar. Like all of the fucking hallmarks are there. And what annoys me is not only is this movie sanitized, it's rushed, and you can tell this was dictated by a lot of lawyers and legal shit. Because this movie, like I said, this should have been like a 4-hour like musical epic. Because that's something Michael Jackson deserves. And as a result, the movie is rushed because they leave out and omit and scrape by, so much stuff. Like, they leave out like the Jackson 5, the Jackson siblings, they're basically useless. Like, they play no part. And they're just there because it's a Michael Jackson movie. And then you leave, and then there's so many siblings, and then you have siblings missing. Like, Janet didn't want to be a part of the movie, so what do? They turn LaToya into Janet.
Mind you, like, throughout the entire film, I think any single time that LaToya was in the movie, they outright said her name, just so that the audience would know, hey guys, this is not Janet, this is LaToya. It's LaToya. Remember, it's LaToya.
They leave out like the other sister, they leave out Rebby, they leave out Randy. They forgot to mention that they forgot to mention that that Marlon had a twin brother who died.
Well, all right, I don't blame them for not mentioning that. I mean, it's not like important to the story,
but they should still mention it. They forget to mention, and mind you, there were set photos of this, that Michael and his brothers were Jehovah's Witnesses. They cut that out. There's no mention of Diana Ross. We don't see how he met Quincy Jones. They don't mention, because here's the thing. I may not like The Wiz. The Wiz was important to Michael's career because that was how he met Quincy Jones. Like, why didn't they bring that up? Why didn't they bring up We Are the World? That was a very important moment of Michael's career. Like, why would you not bring that up? They skim over, the vitiligo. They have a couple mentions of it, but it's not much. And I understand because I know this movie was originally supposed to bring up like the child abuse, allegations, which are bullshit. And yeah, Joey, how dare they not mention Captain EO? But But then, there's the whole thing with the lawyers. They had to reshoot the third act because, from what I heard, the original opening of this movie was Michael getting arrested and Neverland Ranch being sworn by the cops.
Yeah. Well, because the entire third act, sorry to cut you off, but the entire third act revolved around Jordan Chandler, and part of the settlement back in 1993 was that he could not be portrayed in a fictionalized, dramatized setting, and that's why they had to essentially reshoot the entire third act, and thus getting rid of a lot of the meat and potatoes that could have brought in a lot of really good aspects to this movie. But anyway,
and
I don't want to.
as a result, because after he breaks away from the Jackson Fives and cuts basically cuts Joseph out of his life, we just cut to him playing bad, and the movie just stops. Like there's no ending. It's just he plays bad, and then it ends.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
If you can, and Caleb makes a good point. If you can't show the really complicated parts of Michael's life, what's the point of making this movie in the first place?
Yeah.
And as a
money!
result,
That's
Michael
why.
To have money.
We've got to have money.
Michael wasn't a perfect person. He had flaws, he had issues.
Yeah.
Those issues, with him getting the surgery on his nose, but they basically turned Michael into a Gary Stu.
I thought it was Gary's. It doesn't matter.
No, Gary Stu is the male equivalent to Mary Sue. That's the main issues with this movie that I have. It's just the story, how they structured this movie, how it's rushed, the choppy editing. They turned what could have been something special into another hollow biopic.
Yeah.
They turned Michael into Jesus. What character arc did he have in the movie?
I am Jesus. If anyone's seen.
think. Well, I mean, it was kind of like him as father, but it didn't get touched upon enough as.
Yeah.
No pun intended. It didn't get touched upon enough as it should have.
I feel like it's weird giving Michael Jackson a character arc, considering that this is a real person. What character arc needs to be at? I don't know. I mean, John, do you have anything you want to? Because
I did have mixed. I don't know if I have any true negatives, but I could just insert them into negatives, so it's fine. Right. But for me, yeah, it's sanitized. It's run of the mill. I pretty much forgot most of the movie at this point. I still had a fun time, but it just felt like way too much information got shoved into one movie. Here's the thing. I'm so on the fence about how he's quote unquote Saint Michael, but that's what he kind of was when he was alive. He was he was the celebrity. That was the two MJs, the best of their craft, and were bigger than what they were. Both Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson were the two. Michael Jordan will forever be bigger than basketball, and Michael Jackson will forever be bigger than the music he produced. They were beyond. There was my dad was kind of talking about this when we were in the car leaving the movie, and he's and I kind of agree, but even then, I feel like Michael Jackson still is beyond them. He's the three people that became more iconic than the music they played, and more iconic than the genre they were in, and more iconic than the industry they were in, were three, well, quote unquote people, but three groups: Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, and the Beatles. Those were beyond, but I feel like even Michael Jackson was beyond Presley and fucking the Beatles.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
it's just like he was just so far fucking beyond like there was nobody like him when he came out, and there was nobody like him since. Like you could make all the like, oh, but the records and this and that. And it's just like no one will ever be Michael Jackson ever again. No, you can go on and on about how Beyonce or Taylor Swift are these big, huge artists, blah blah blah, and they are. I'm not going to deny that they are talented, relatively in their field, and they sold a lot of records, and have a lot of Spotify, plays and all that shit. But like, they still Michael Jackson eclipses all of them, and it's not close. So I am kind of on the fence of like, I'm kind of on the fence of having to portray Michael as this Gary Stu, because that's what we kind of remember him as. Like he was this like almighty, like God among men, because that's how the people viewed him as, even though he technically wasn't that person. It was just like that's how he viewed, and this is how we are viewing him as how we remember him, So
Yeah, boost Taylor Swift, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like. I mean, the main thing is her fans are annoying. I don't think she's all that bad, but so it's hard for me to kind of discern like, oh, the trueness. And I'm sure there's tons of historical inaccuracies. Here's the thing: I'm more aware of the Queen stuff because I am more of a Queen fan than a Michael Jackson fan. I mean, in terms of historical inaccuracies, I mean, that's why we have Jay here, because he's the one that's gonna he's brought up that stuff and is gonna bring up more. I don't know if you have more, but like I don't know a lot about. I don't know a lot about Michael Jackson's. I know some things. Like, I know, like, the 1993 allegations. I know this, that, and the other thing. But Queen, I know more of. I learned a lot about that. So, that's what I know. And I'm more of a Queen fan. And nothing against Michael Jackson. It's just, like, Queen is what I more so grew up with. So, I'm sure the historical inaccuracies are negative. For me, it's kind of like these are negatives, but they're not like, oh my god, fuck these negatives, blah blah blah. They're just like, it's generic, it's kind of bland, it's a little one-dimensional. It doesn't have as much meat as it should. You can tell the reshoots. Jay, we can hear your whatever the fuck you're watching.
Oh, my fault. Sorry.
Yeah, turn it down, bro.
My fault. Sorry.
But like, it's just. It's unfortunately that's all these things, and like you could tell I remember there was one scene. I think he's talking. Michael is talking with the alpaca or the llama or whatever, and or like one of his animals, and it's just like his hair changes, like it changes from like a big afro to like this the smaller like haircut he has later on in the film. It like goes back and forth, and I'm like, bro, come on. Did you seriously leave that in? You didn't even try to like at least CGI that shit, because that just looks terrible. And like, how do you fucking put that into a final product of a movie? So there's that. But so yeah, that's kind of like all the major negative. It's just like, yeah, it's what do you suspect? It's generic. It's one-dimensional. It's bland. There's nothing I truly hated about this movie. It's just like, it's more like I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed type of shit, where it's just like, I feel like Tony Stark right now, you should have been better. You should have been better. Like, exactly. That is essentially what this is. And when I talk about final verdict and all that, because I do have an idea of how this should have gone, but I just think, yeah, it's essentially all the major negatives is what everyone else has been saying. I'm not going to be on bended knee for the almighty Michael. I still enjoyed it more, and I still think it has a little bit more than something like Bohemian Rhapsody, but it's still not much, and it's still a very flawed movie. Sure, I enjoyed it, but the negatives are there, and it's still worth saying, and I need to be critical about this as much as I can. So, yeah, it has a lot of good, but it also has a lot of not great, so it's unfortunately a bit of a jumbled mess because of that.
Do you want me to play Rob's negatives before we get to yours?
Yeah.
Did they mention Prince a single time during the movie?
Yeah, they did. It was like a throwaway line. Like Michael was like, I need like, God to give me an idea, because if I don't, write, then God could, give that idea to Prince.
I will say before I play Rob's negatives, I didn't really grow up listening to Michael Jackson. I more grew up listening to Prince because my mom was a huge Prince fan.
Oh, what?
But here is Rob's negatives.
So when it comes to my negatives, this movie pretty much justified my worries for this movie. I'll be honest. It's kind of the reason why, even though I can admit performances are really good and it was well shot and things like that, the problem is the fact that this is just, I mean, this falls under what I was worried about. It's another paint by numbers generic biopic movie, you know? Maybe it doesn't go through the exact same emotions that ones like the way the Houston movie or the Bob Marley do, but it still does have the same beats, you know? And honestly, that kind of, because not only that, but but another thing that bothers me about it is someone who is actually familiar more with like what Michael Jackson was going through in like the 80s and such. I honestly felt like they skimmed over a lot of important elements, you know, either they skimmed over it or they completely removed it altogether. A good example is during the making of The Wiz, yes. And I mean, I know love or hate that movie all you want. I mean, I haven't seen it, so I can't really say, but I will say that I am aware that when Michael Jackson was a part of making that movie, that was an important part because it's actually how he met Quincy Jones for the first time. That's how they actually met, was during the filming of The Wiz. And there's other things that I feel like I get they couldn't touch upon the allegations that happened in the 90s due to legal matters and things like that. And hey, maybe they might be able to do that in part two because let's face it, this movie's going to get a part two. It's impossible to tell every Michael Jackson thing that happened in the span of 3 hours. It's impossible. Let's face it. But I feel like even then, with anything that happened between the Jackson 5 and the Bad Tour, I felt like there was a lot of things that were either skimmed over or they just omitted completely. Another thing they probably could have that I wanted them to touch upon is the song "We Are the World," which was the AIDS benefit concert that happened where a bunch of musicians from the '80s pretty much came together to sing about the pandemic thing that happened in Africa, you know, during the '80s. And Michael Jackson co-wrote the song with Lionel Richie for that. So that I felt like they could have touched upon that more and such. And I mean, there's just other things. It's just, and I mean, it's like I said, it's just kind of generic. It was kind of predictable. I knew what was going to happen. I'm not upset that they didn't, like I said, I'm not upset that they omitted the allegations thing because legal matters. But even then, there's still more you could have talked about, you know, and there's still plenty of things that it covered. I mean, the thriller scene honestly felt kind of just glossed over, you know. Yes, they did show how Beat It and Thriller were made and Billie Jean. Well, maybe not Billie Jean, but I felt like you could have gone more into detail about with that, because that was like his golden album.
Thank you.
The Thriller album was like his golden album, and I felt like you could have more expanded on that more. But yeah, those are my negatives, and honestly, it's kind of the main reason why I don't really like the movie. And trust me, Jay, I really wanted to. I wanted to come out surprised, but unfortunately, the thing that worried me the most pretty much felt very justified. So, yeah, those are pretty much my negatives.
I'm surprised they didn't really talk about Billie Jean because I remember watching that video when I was a kid, just like with Thriller, and I thought it was one of the coolest fucking things I've ever seen.
Yeah, honestly, like Yeah, with Billie Jean, I was a little bit disappointed we didn't really get to see the music video, but I think with well, I guess yeah. So, out my section, and so yeah, for everyone
I
watching,
did
so
want to
yeah,
bring up one more thing. Sorry, I forgot this when talking about my positives. I really like how when he's developing thriller, they do go into the horror aspect of it, and they did focus on like the Vincent Price part. I really appreciate that. As a horror
yeah,
fan, I appreciate that. So
yeah.
anyway, sorry. Continue.
So my section of in my notes, so I have what I didn't like, inaccuracies, and what was missing. So I have a lot. So I'm gonna show the camera. I have a lot of things on this in this section. So I'm gonna go in order, and I'll expand on things that that probably deserve to get expanded on. So the first thing that I did not like, the Jackson 5 era was rushed way too quickly, and it was not given time to breathe before 1978. In this movie, it opens with basically in medias res. We see Michael going through the tunnel at the in Wembley during the bad tour, and it cuts to 1966. So we skip Michael's birth. We skip Michael, showing his talent. We skip all that and jump right into the middle of it where Joseph is having everyone rehearse. It was a choice. That was a choice. That was definitely a choice. But nonetheless, okay, if that's what we're doing and we're skipping the, the stereotypical things, then sure, why not? But yeah, I think that we do not get enough of buildup to how the Jackson 5 was made, how they ended up being signed to Motown. It just jumps from year to year because we gotta get this train rolling to jump to when Michael's an adult. With young Mike, we didn't really get that much. We only got like a select few things, and the stuff that we did get I liked, but I don't like how we don't really get to see a lot of the Jackson 5 because the Jackson 5 deserves a lot of time to breathe. It's not even just with the Jackson 5, with the Jacksons, because the Jackson 5 they became came on the scene in 1969, 1970 when Diana Ross introduced them, and their run with Motown lasted from 1969 to 1974. 1974 when they left Motown to go to Epic to sign with Epic Records. So you're missing out on a chunk of things. You're missing out on Michael's development during that time with Motown, him having a relationship with Diana Ross, with Berry Gordy, with Stevie Wonder. Heck, Stevie Wonder isn't even in this movie, and I forgot to mention that even though Stevie Wonder is literally his cousin. And speaking of family. And speaking of family, yeah. Where's Randy? Where is honestly, Janet not being in the film, I can kind of understand because Janet doesn't really become a big contributor to Michael as far as his career until the 90s. So I can understand Janet not being in there. Rebe not being in there doesn't make any sense either because she's the oldest. She's literally the firstborn child. Why is Rebe not in the movie?
Wasn't Janet like the sibling he was closest to?
Yeah, he was closest to Janet.
Marlon?
But no, Marlon, he was close to a lot of his siblings, but yes, him and Janet were very close. Him and Marlon were close. Him and Jermaine were close. But it's like, if you're not going to have Janet be in the movie, then fine. I can kind of tolerate it because, again, they don't collaborate until the 90s. But the biggest sin is Randy not being there. And why I do, and which kind of jumps to my next thing. Randy is not in the movie. So after 1974, when they leave Motown, they had to rebrand their group and call them the Jacksons. And with Jermaine staying with Motown and leaving the Jackson 5, they had to get their youngest sibling of the male brothers, Randy Jackson, who became Jermaine's replacement, so they can keep it as 5 brothers. And during that time, we ended up getting various classics. We ended up getting Blame It on the Boogie, The Things I Do for You, Heartbreak Hotel, Can You Feel It, The Lovely One, all these great songs.
Which one's Dance, Now Shout, Shake your body now. To
Oh,
the
shake your
ground.
body down. Shake your body down. All these classics, and we don't get to see them because Randy's not in the movie. They allude to the Triumph tour and talking about, oh, how are we going to perform without Jermaine? And I'm like, you've been performing without Jermaine for years. You've gone on tours without Jermaine for years. That's why Randy not being there makes no sense. The one and only time that we get to see of the Triumph tour is Michael Jackson performing Ben off of the Jackson's live album, which, by the way, Triumph to me, I think is their best, is the Jackson, both Jackson 5 and Jackson's. Triumph is their best album, in my opinion. And I love the Jackson's Triumph tour. I listen to the live album all the time. But yeah, like that was really, I did not like that the Jackson 5 era was not given that much of attention, because we just kind of jump from time jump to different points to then jump to now Michael is like 20 years old in 1978, and I'm like, okay, so now we're in 1978. So yeah, I'm gonna try to go in chronological order as far as the timeline. So yeah, 1978. So it's just in 1978, right? And guess who Michael Jackson is talking to? Quincy Jones. So cool. So those who do not know who Quincy Jones is, he is a very, very famous music producer. God rest his soul. But he is a very famous music producer. And there was a particular project that Michael Jackson was a part of in 1977 called The Wiz that had a co-star by the name of Diana Ross, who's not in this movie and also had scenes filmed, but was cut because of Diana Ross having some reason, I don't know, maybe because of the fact that she had a relation, basically had a kind of a little weird dynamic with Michael, considering that she's known him since he was a kid, and didn't want to have to deal with the backlash of it. But I don't know. But during The Wiz, he meets Quincy Jones, and Quincy Jones becomes a very pivotal point in Michael's career as growing as a solo artist. Without Quincy Jones, we don't get Off the Wall, we don't get Thriller, and we don't get Bad. So for them to not even like show Quincy Jones and Michael meeting, it's kind of a disservice. They act as if, oh, Quincy Jones was just always there, and he was just always there and knew Michael. So that really bothered me. Now something that's inaccurate. Something that was inaccurate, and I'm trying to keep it in chronological order with the timeline. I didn't really think this through when I was just kind of going off at the top of my head. So during the Jackson 5 era, one inaccuracy was something that I really was like, why did they do this? Two inaccuracies actually. So one inaccuracy was that Michael Jackson in the movie, it's infamous that in real life he lied about his age and said that he was 9 years old. In the movie, he lied and said that he was 8 years old. Why did they do that? I don't know. But another inaccuracy was when Michael Jackson said, because it was when the Jackson 5 in Chicago, when they performed at the Apollo. Why did they not say that they were at the Apollo? I don't know. Maybe because of rights issues or something. I don't know. But when they were in Chicago, they performed Never Can Say Goodbye. So them performing it is not the issue. It's the fact that the song wasn't even made yet. They performed in 1968 in Chicago, but Never Can Say Goodbye was made in 1970. That doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense. Okay, now we can jump to another inaccuracy. We can jump to hold on. I'll get all the missing stuff out of the way, because that's pretty simple. Yeah, another thing that's missing: no Paul McCartney. No Paul McCartney. Now, I'm sure people are now. If those who do not know why Paul McCartney also is a very pivotal person for Michael's career, is because when Thriller came out, Michael Jackson was very, very, very particular with how he wanted this album to be made. And the first single that he released was The Girl Is Mine, which, by the way, is a very underrated song. I don't know why people hate it, but they don't know music. But yes, The Girl Is Mine was a collaboration song that he released with Paul McCartney, and he did that on purpose because he wanted to break out into the mainstream. He knew that he needed to win over the white people, and he ended up getting pretty much the most famous, one of the most famous Caucasian musicians of all time, part of the biggest group of all time, Paul McCartney. And guess what? That single did numbers, and that was planned meticulously because guess what he released after? Guess what 2 singles he released after? Billie Jean and Beat It, and that was pretty much all she wrote. So Paul McCartney not being in the movie was very weird. And also on top of that, Paul McCartney was the reason why Michael Jackson ended up owning his masters. He literally was the reason why Michael Jackson became the biggest, most powerful person in music by owning his music catalog, by owning the Beatles music catalog. That reminds me of how they played another One Bites the Dust in the mid-70s section of Bohemian Rhapsody when the song was released in 1980. Yeah, what's another thing that was missing that I had that was missing? Oh yeah, I already said no Diana Ross and no The Wiz. Okay, this is the last thing that was missing. So yeah, I love the Victory Tour section. Why let me not curse too much. Why in God's earth did we jump from 1984 to 1988 and we are missing so many things? We not only are we missing Captain EO, which was made during the people like to call it the Thrad era in between Thriller and Bad, because another part of me was the first single, it was the first song that he made that was featured that's on his Bad album. So we miss Captain EO, we miss We Are the World, which is one of the biggest things during the 80s, and him and Lionel Richie wrote that song and got a Grammy from it. We are also missing The Making of Bad, and we are missing one of the biggest things that started during the late 80s. It was the start of the title, the infamous nickname from Michael Jackson, Wacko Jacko, because people were starting to have a lot of rumors about him. Because let's not forget, the mid to late 80s, Michael Jackson started to look very differently. His skin started to be lighter. He started to have lupus. He started to have problems.
It's never
with
lupus. Sorry. Force a habit.
Wait, what is that reference?
House.
Oh.
It's never
yeah,
lupus.
he started to have lupus. People started to make rumors that said that he was sleeping in a hyperbolic time chamber. People were saying, oh, wait, I think I'm referencing DBZ, but anyways.
He bought the Elephant Man bones.
Yeah, or that he was
he tried
sleeping
to buy Marvel so he could play Spider-Man.
Like a lot of things.
With what Marvel has become, not the worst person to own Marvel. Just saying.
Honestly, yeah. But yeah, we're missing so many things in between to where, yes, the Bad sequence was amazing, but like you're missing so much context. So yeah, but as far as all the stuff that was missing,
I understand that like dramatic license needs to be achieved because you can only fit so much in a movie, but like the thing is, as you said, there's so much context missing, and the thing is, like they don't talk about all these things in favor of other things, but the other things are not interesting. Yet the things that they got rid of are interesting. Like I would have loved to seen some like bits with the Wiz, him meeting Quincy Jones, him doing with stuff with Paul McCartney, Diana Ross. That would have been interesting to see, but instead we get 6 montages of how he's a genius. And it's
Jack Black almost played a Green Lantern. He probably would have played that card, honestly. So now, honestly, I'm just gonna tackle all the stuff. I'm gonna go with each section. What I didn't like,
and honestly, Jack Black playing a Green Lantern, it's better than the fucking Lantern show that's probably gonna come out. So,
oh my god!
But let's not talk about that.
So to get rid of the stuff, to also get rid of the stuff of what I didn't like. Another thing that I didn't like, and this one's really personal for me. I do not like that Motown 25 was pretty much just a montage, because Motown 25 not only was the biggest thing that happened, it was not only. So I need people to understand, Motown 25 was, so Berry Gordy decided to do an event called Motown 25, which was the 25th anniversary of all of Motown. He was bringing back all the Motown artists with Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross, all these people. And obviously the Jackson 5, which was, I think, probably the biggest success from Motown, or you could argue Stevie Wonder, but the Jackson 5, they, of course, were going to be a part of this. But there was one person that did not want to be a part of it, which kind of, was going to make or break this event, and that was Michael himself. Michael did not want to do this performance. Oh yeah, the Temptations as well. Michael did not want to do this performance. This was during a time where he wanted to break free from being around his brothers. He wanted to do his own thing. He wanted to be solo. And Berry Gordy practically begged him. And Michael said, "Okay, I'll do it under one condition. After my set with my brothers, I need to have a solo spot, and I need to perform Billie Jean." And it wasn't a request, it was a demand. So already you're missing so much. And then with, Billie Jean, you see him, breaks out the moonwalk for the first time. That night pretty much solidified Michael Jackson as the biggest icon in music. And it only gets relegated to a montage. Which, by the way, speaking of another inaccuracy, why did we get the Grammys night during that montage? Because him getting all those Grammys, it happened after his Pepsi incident. The fact that he showed up to the Grammys was already alone was like, oh, he showed up, because that happened like a month, or I think maybe a month or two after his Pepsi incident. So yeah, that was like. They did it just for the sake of, Billie Jean, and then him getting all these Grammys and everything. So yeah, that was something that I did not like. Another thing that I did not like, oh yeah, another thing with the whole Randy thing, yeah, Randy not being there also makes the Victory Tour not make any sense, because it's because of literally the entire point of the Victory Tour was due to the fact that it was all 6 brothers performing together for the very first time. Randy, when it was just the Jackson 5, Randy would sometimes be with the brothers, but he wasn't really like a mainstay. He was kind of just like, he was just playing drums, or he was playing the congos. So yeah, after Motown 25, which was, again, all 6 brothers performing together for the very first time, that's what sparked the Victory Tour. Which, by the way, side note, I like that Deion Cole was playing Don King. Like, I had to like actively like, squint. I was like, wait, is that Deion Cole? Because I almost didn't recognize him. So he was I thought he was really great. I love Deion Cole. He's a very funny comedian and actor. But yeah, I did not like how, Randy not being there makes a lot of stuff make little to no sense. So I think, is that it for another thing I didn't like, yeah, his vitiligo. Literally we get one scene where it's mentioned.
Actually, I remember at least 2, maybe 3, because I remember the vitiligo gets mentioned when he's doing his getting his nose surgery, but then there's also a couple scenes where he's like putting makeup on to cover his whiteness, but like the vitiligo isn't mentioned by name. It's just like a couple scenes where he's like touching himself up with makeup, which is implying the vitiligo. So maybe 2, still not enough. I'm still
it's not enough with you, honestly.
But it's mentioned more than once, maybe 2 or 3 times, but still not enough.
I mean, you can see it at certain points in the film, but they don't talk about it enough to the point where it's like something that was, a big thing. Another thing that I do not like, and this one's really personal for me, I don't like how Off the Wall does not get its respect and mainstay in this movie. And that's another thing. I mean, even with the Jacksons miniseries, Off the Wall barely gets talked. Off the Wall doesn't even get mentioned. So Off the Wall, all we get literally is a montage of "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough," and that's pretty much it. The record sales and everything. And the reason why Off the Wall, to me, is important for Michael's career is because, yes, Off the Wall was what established Michael as, yes, exactly. Off Wall is arguably the most important album for Michael Jackson. And it's important because of the aftermath. Because not showing his like him being snubbed at the Grammys, he only walked away with one Grammy, and he sold so many records that Off the Wall, not even that. Also Off the Wall was low key like pretty much the curtain call for the disco era of the late 70s because the album came out in 1979, so that was kind of like a goodbye to the disco era, and we're entering the 80s. So,
But
with
hey, Jay, why focus on Off the Wall when we can have a scene of Michael playing Twister with Bubbles?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That was not. I mean, I get it. It kind of showed that Michael was kind of lonely at times. I get that, but still, like we did not need to. We needed to have more scenes to breathe. The timing as well. It was near the end of the 70s, and yeah, exactly. Like Off the Wall was pretty much the last like disco record for like for that time period. So yeah, no mention of the 1980 Grammys because he was pissed. Like Michael was pissed. He was pissed off that all he got was pretty much one Grammy for that amazing album. And that is like literally that is what sparked Thriller. Because he made Thriller out of spite. He was like, "Oh, y'all not gonna give me more than one award? Okay, I'm gonna make an album so perfect, so revolutionary, so freaking big that you're gonna have to give me all these awards." That is why Off the Wall is an important benchmark for Michael's career, and them glossing over it just doesn't make any sense to me. Okay. Yeah, he was like literally. It's because of the lack of success of Off the Wall. That's what made Michael so determined for Thriller, and we didn't really even get that in the movie. I mean, yeah, he's like, "Oh, I want to make an album. I want to have make an album that's best selling." Which I mean, get it, because get it. Thriller is the best selling album of all time, so of course he's gonna say it. But no, like he was on a mission. He wanted to be respected. He wanted to be in the mainstream. He wanted to be the biggest artist in the world. So. I just don't. I mean, Off the Wall not really giving its due. It's really like whatever. And another thing, yeah, the Victory Tour. I don't think a lot of people know this, but the Victory Tour was very filled with a lot of drama, from the ticket system to Michael being accused of being a sellout and not being, for its people anymore, forgetting where he came from, to Don King's, involvement, because Michael wasn't really a fan of Don King because he was a very controversial promoter. To then the brothers having, a lot of tension because Michael didn't even want to do this tour. He was convinced by his mother Catherine. Also another inaccuracy. Michael did not convince himself to do the tour. It was Catherine who pretty much asked him to do it, and he was like, "All right, fine." But yeah, the Victory Tour kind of just being like, "Oh, another Go Happy tour that ended." So well, no, it was filled with a lot of drama. The brothers were not happy that Michael decided to take matters into his own hands and say, "Yeah, this is our last tour." It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. It was a lot of drama. So yeah, with all the stuff that I didn't like out of the way, let's end it off with the inaccuracies. And I'm gonna go with rapid fire. Yeah. Inaccuracy, one inaccuracy. Michael was seen as he was too perfect in this film. I get it. Michael Jackson was basically God during this time period, but Michael had his demons. Michael had his struggles. One of his struggles was the fact that he very much he did not like his image. Like he suffered with body dysmorphia. He did not like his nose. He did not like he had trouble with acne. He was very insecure about his appearance, and which leads to another inaccuracy. His nose, with the surgery, with his nose job. The scene was great. I thought the scene was really sad, but that's not the first time. That wasn't the first time he got a nose job. He got his first nose job after breaking his nose when he was during the Off the Wall era. When he was, practicing dancing, he broke his nose, and that was his first nose job. So they kind of did that for dramatic effect because of the Joseph and Michael dynamic. Another inaccuracy. I don't like how the brothers being unfazed about Michael basically, leaving the group and canceling the tour, especially none of them basically having an issue with Michael's solo success, especially Jermaine, which, Jermaine was pretty much the one that was kind of salty that Michael was getting all the success, which kind of contributed to their little feud in the 90s. Now this inaccuracy is kind of small, but Working Day and Night, that's not the song that they were playing when Michael said this is our final tour. It was Shake Your Body Down, but I get it. They can't play Shake Your Body Down because Randy's not freaking there. Yeah, I already said Catherine was the one to convince Michael to do the tour. Oh, another small thing. Michael getting bubbles. Michael didn't get bubbles until 1983. Michael got bubbles.
Thought. Like I was like, what? Because even as someone who's casual doesn't know a lot about that, but even when I was like, did he really get him this early? Like I remember that was more of a '90s thing.
Yeah, because isn't Bubbles like over 40 years old?
Yeah, he got bubbles in 1983. I looked it up because I was like, wait a minute, he did not get him during his time with Off the Wall. He got him in like
I know
the mid to late 80s.
Like Bubbles like fucking bit a lot of kids, but like I didn't know like when. Yeah, because it was like apparently him and Michael got into a fight to the point Michael stopped bringing him on tour and he left him at Neverland and they left him in a cage, but they didn't like warn people about him. So whenever they would go up to the cage, like Bubbles would like attack people, and yeah, so not great.
Moral of the
hopefully
story,
they got tetanus shots.
Moral of the story: don't get chimps as pets.
So it's like Harambe gets fucking murked after one incident where nothing happened, but Bubbles gets to live. Yeah, sure, okay.
Bubbles gets a sanctuary.
Well, I think Bubbles is dead actually.
No, Bubbles is still alive.
Dead.
Oh, he's still alive.
Yeah, Bubbles is still alive.
Damn.
There's a picture with him and Jafar.
Damn, he's still kicking. I mean, also, why did actually, I can understand why Bubbles and all the animals.
Yeah, he is 42, 43 years old.
Can we also talk about the uncanny CGI on Bubbles?
I mean, I get it because why would you getting a live monkey? That can be very, very, very problematic.
At least make it look good.
Caesar,
dude, yeah, Caesar
together.
Caesar and Robbie look much better.
Apes together, strong. Okay. I think I got all of the inaccuracies, the missing pieces, and the things that I didn't like. Yeah, that was a very long list.
Are you sure you like this movie?
Oh no, I like the movie, but as a Michael Jackson super fan, I'm gonna be that guy. That's not accurate. That's missing. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna be that guy because again, I'm a very big Michael Jackson fan. So now we can get to the next part, which is kind of different from what we normally do because it was confirmed that a sequel was going to be made. I mean, literally the end of the movie cuts to black. It says his story continues. So literally it gave us the Michael Jackson will return in Avengers Doomsday. So yeah, that pretty much, confirms that we're going to get a sequel, which, yeah, it makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense to not continue the story. I mean, I kind of wanted it just to be one movie, but beggars can't be choosers. Honestly, the best thing that they should have did for this entire project was make this a 10 episode miniseries. But again, that kind of cool. That would have been cool, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not the greatest idea. It's worked for some, but it hasn't worked for others. Like when you get one new edition docuseries is great, and then you'll get a Selena biopic series, which wasn't really done well. People really weren't receptive to that. But yes, which leads us to the next section of this review. What we want to see from the sequel. And I honestly kind of want to jump. I kind of want to start this because I have a list, and this was my final section. Wait, the post-credit scene where Freddie Mercury appeared out of the shadows and said he was going to
guys, I'm assembling a team just without that fucking llama.
Michael, darling, I'm here to tell you about the Avengers Initiative. I can't do Freddie's voice.
No,
Freddie
but I know he
Mercury.
said darling a lot.
Freddie Mercury, leader of the popular band Queen. I'm going to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. All right, but yeah. So I have a list of I have a section called "What I Hope to See in the Sequel," and this is not that much, but it still is a lot. So, and I'm gonna go with I'm gonna try to keep this like condensed, but
please do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, first thing on the list, this movie needs to start back in 1985. We need to jump back to 1985 and build up to Bad being made, and then we can, jump to the tour. We do not I'm sorry, but we need to see how Bad is being made, because again, Bad being made was a statement piece to basically all the people who thought that Michael Jackson was not, for his people anymore, that he gone, pop, and he, was, basically, being a sellout. We need to see that. Another thing, Janet Jackson needs to be in this movie. Janet Jackson is a very pivotal part in during the 90s, and she needs.
Happen.
It's not going to happen. Well, they need to make it happen. I don't care.
How the fuck are you going to explain that? In the first movie, there is no Janet Jackson, and it's all of a sudden like, "Hey, I'm here now." Like, that doesn't make sense.
Nobody would notice that. Filmmaking is not about the small parts; it's about the big picture.
Sure.
Thanks, Ed Wood.
Okay. Yeah. Next thing. The Dangerous Era needs to be given its respect and attention. The Dangerous Era was one of his biggest experiments, because he ended up experimenting with a lot of different sounds, R&B, hip hop, rock, a lot, black and white, Can't Let Her Get Away, Who Is It? All these hits. Remember the time, In the Closet. Because remember, a lot of people, that's from history, but I'm going to get to that. In the Closet, a lot of people thought that Michael was gay. And he basically made a song was like, "Oh, y'all thought I was gay? Okay, bet. I'm about to show y'all that I love women just as much as the next person." This is a personal one. We need to see. I want to see the Bad being snubbed at the Grammys, because yeah, that was bullshit. I'm sorry, you two, but you winning that album of the year is bullshit. Like let's be honest. The Super Bowl performance. Literally, I mean, enough said. He was the first big star to do he literally is the reason why the Super Bowl performance is, as big as it is today. I want this movie to be 3 hours, 25 minutes. 3.5 if you can. Hell, 4 hours if you can. I will watch a 4-hour movie. I watch the Snyder Cut all the time. Yeah, I watch Snyder Cut all the time. Ew. Literally from start to finish. I'm not even kidding. Gross. Okay, now, like Devin said this, so I'm going to talk about this. History. Why this album is very important in Michael Jackson's career. This album came out after the 93 allegations, and this was the era where Michael was pretty much pissed off by not just the media, but with all the scrutiny being put on his name. That's why he made songs like They Don't Care About Us. That's why he made songs like Tabloid Junkie or Scream or Ghost or all these other songs. He pretty much was making a statement and fighting back against the media and telling them to basically leave him the hell alone and stop believing what you see on this TV screen and the newspapers. The Neverland Ranch acquisition. You can't talk about the Jordan Chandler, but you got to talk about the Neverland Ranch. I don't see anything in the lawsuit that talks about him not being able to talk about the Neverland Ranch. Now this one's personal, but listen, I know this is like damn near impossible, but they have to at least allude to the 93 allegations in any way that they can. Just allude to it, or like in a tongue-in-cheek way.
What they can do is talk about the 93. But the thing is, I don't think they can name or show Jordan Chandler.
They should. Okay, they don't have to. They don't have to. They but they have to talk about it. Like, that is what pretty much became like, Michael Jackson was like, this white knight figure, and now in the 93 allegations, it pretty much changed his entire career. The Heal the World campaign. I don't think I need to explain why that's important. Show Michael's struggle with wanting to tour because he has stated many times how much he hates it. I mean, during the bad era, he said, he literally said that the bad tour was going to be his final tour. And guess what? He toured many, many times after that.
Yeah,
He didn't
like
want
how
to do it.
Elton John has had like 6 farewell tours.
And Kiss.
Yeah. Which again, the 90s era, that needs to be I'm sorry. I know fans don't want to see like, their favorite, their idols being, going through bad shit, but the second movie, and this needs to be the final movie. I don't want a third movie. This movie needs to be very serious. This movie needs to be serious. The 90s era was no joke. Michael was the biggest star in the world, but he was going through a lot at the time. So this needs to be a very serious movie. Same thing with the 2000s, the 2003 trial, and that pretty much kind of, I won't say tarnished his reputation, but he became a very, controversial figure in the 2000s, and a lot of comedians were making fun of him. He was being mocked. He was, made fun of. He was, a lot of people were poking fun of Michael Jackson at every single point. Which with the 2000s, yeah, like you have to talk about his feud with Sony, his, the 2003 trial, and the This Is It tour, which sadly, that's gonna be a part where I think I'm gonna cry and bawl my eyes out. But another thing, his MTV performance in 1995. I don't think that needs to be. I don't think I have to expand on that. I mean, a lot of people arguably say that that's his greatest performance on television. Show Michael's vitiligo issues and his lupus and his nose surgeries. Yeah, because he got a lot of nose jobs and he went from being light skinned to basically being white now. Do you need to? Cast someone to play Oprah? Because that Oprah interview was pretty, messy. And
the British guy.
Yeah. Maybe show his marriage with Lisa Presley. I don't know.
Something I would like to see. I want to see Michael being a dad.
Yeah.
I did watch the compilation of the moments of him and his kids. Oh my god, it's fucking adorable.
Yeah, except for that one moment. We don't, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna. Oh, that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because listen. You know what? And you know what? It's fine if you want to portray Michael as being this perfect figure in the first movie. Fine.
What I think they should do, the only way they can amend that, the idea of Saint Michael, is to show the fall in the sequel.
Exactly.
The first movie was the rise. The second movie is the fall. That is the only way you can put all of this Saint Michael shit that I've seen critics call it into context and make it work. Because literally, those 1993 allegations until his death was pretty much, it was a whole different phase of his career. I wouldn't say totally ruined him. He still made a lot of great music, experimental, all the stuff you mentioned. But that was like the big thing that turned, I feel, a lot of people off, mainly casual people, of Michael Jackson, and that was kind of the start of the end, quote unquote. He still had, again, I know he had a very lengthy career and all that, but that was like the big thing. That was like, you had like the whole huge era of Michael Jackson, 70s, 80s, and then a little bit of the 90s, and then the allegations in those 90s really was like precipitously how it, kind of went on and on from that. So
yeah, I wholeheartedly, you literally like took the words right out of my mouth. Like this, like if you want to, like, yeah, I can excuse him being seen as perfect because I mean, you could like the 80s is pretty much like the golden era of Michael Jackson. To where the 90s and the 2000s, like that's where Michael's heart pretty much like turned cold. Like he became more serious. He wasn't as happy as he was like that. Like, every slip up, everything was magnified, and he was like, watched under a microscope. So yeah, like he had a lot of, slip ups. So yeah, I want Michael to be seen as a figure who was great, but he had his demons and he had his slip ups. And one of those slip ups, which I want to be mentioned, his unfortunate addiction to pain meds.
Yeah,
That
they
was
did
never-
allude to
Mhm.
that when when he got burned in the movie. I did appreciate that. That was one of the few things. that
Yeah,
they
but
did
all
mention.
all he said was just like, "Oh, I'm feeling sleepy because of the pain meds and everything." He didn't really say, "Oh, like I need them." Yes, I mean, I like how he said he didn't want to take medication because he
Well, I
didn't want.
think that's because like they were kind of implying like he knew that he would be not great with them. So that I feel like that the implication was there.
Yeah, because like on top of all the stuff, Michael Jackson, unfortunately, I won't say a drug addict, but he did have a addiction to pain meds because of the fact of the Pepsi incident. So yeah, I just and the one and final thing, which I'm being so dead ass, I don't want a third movie. This needs to be the final movie. the last thing, for this film, you gotta end it with the This Is It tour, and I want the ending to be done with respect. Show me the funeral. Give me a powerful tribute ending. Give me something powerful. I don't want an ending where we get a title card of, oh, Michael Jackson was a humanitarian and a legend and all this stuff and woo. I don't want that. I want like I'm sorry, but I don't want an all eyes on me situation where it literally ends with him dying and then it like cuts to like being cuts to black and there's like text on the screen. Because all eyes on me, that was a really bad movie. That was not a good biopic movie on Tupac. Like the only reason why,
That's what I've heard.
yeah, but I really do think that the ending they need to like stick the landing with this ending because the This Is It tour like that needs to have. They can't gloss over that either because originally the tour was simply supposed to be 10 shows. And guess what it ended up turning to? 30.
25. Okay.
Oh,
I was
25.
No, I don't know. I was just
I know
looking
it
up,
I think it was 30. He had to do he ended up it went from being 10 to 30. And him being 50, him being, he was very, skinny, he was very frail, he was very sporadic during rehearsals. Like it was bad. It was bad. It was bad. Like, I'm sorry, but I was talking to my mom about this. My mom was saying, I'm kind of glad they didn't show any of the allegations in the movie. I don't want to see that. I do. Because I want people to see that yes, Michael was this larger than life figure, but he wasn't this perfect being because he had his slip ups. Like all the greats, they have their moments of having their own demons, and I want people to realize. I want people to see and really. Unfortunately, Jafar is the closest thing that we're going to get to Michael. So I want people to really see what Michael had to go through during that time. I'm not saying, but yeah, I said my piece. If anyone else has something they want to say,
No, I think that sums it up with I think what we both want to see is a little bit more
Pretty much.
serious, a little bit more into the fall of Michael Jackson and what happened. So I just think that would overall be a better movie, more intriguing movie. I think it would be overall better. So yeah, I think that's definitely the case of give us more and yeah.
Thank you,
and-
Caleb. Thank you for bringing that point. If Elton John can allow himself to be portrayed as a complicated figure with real human flaws, we could do the same with Michael. And that's another reason why Better Man worked, because it showed how flawed and messed up Robbie Williams was. And he didn't shy away from it.
Yeah.
They had him narrate the movie, for fuck's sake.
I mean,
the
Love
real
and
Robbie.
Mercy was another one that showed how like Brian Wilson was really fucked up after his like depression of for years where he like never left his bed, and how someone took advantage of that and tried to morph him into like his way to like get famous. So that's what like kind of that's what I love about Love and Mercy was you had like because if you don't know what Love and Mercy is about, it's two different distinct points in Brian Wilson's life. It's Paul Dano plays the young Brian Wilson, where he's making Pet Sounds, which is now considered by many rock fans to be one of, if not like the greatest concept album of all time, next to Dark Side of the Moon. And then you have then the later Brian Wilson after his depressive state, which I think was in the 80s, played by John Cusack, and how he met his wife, who essentially got him out of this situation. And it showed like how like you had like the Brian Wilson trying to prove himself to his father, to his bandmates. He's like, I just don't want to make like one-dimensional surf rock for the rest of my life. I want to create things. And you could tell he had this eye and this ear for like greater experimental music. And there are extensive scenes of him trying to create the sound for Pet Sounds. And that's what makes it work so well. And then you have the John Cusack portrayal of like him trying to get out of this situation, but he's stuck in this abusive relationship. And that's what it shows Brian Wilson as, just a person who tried to make great music and then tried to get out of this situation but needed help. And he was kind of like a little wispy, a little weird. And Brian Wilson was heavily involved in that production because he's like, I want them to showcase how I really am. And that's why Love and Mercy worked so well. Or how Ice Cube and all those guys were involved with Straight Outta Compton, how they wanted to showcase the like harder aspects of that movie. And
as someone who watched Straight Outta Compton, I gotta say, take that with a grain of salt, because they didn't really do a great job with Dr. Dre's portrayal at times.
Okay, that's fair. But I mean, like, having them involved, probably, because the thing is, Michael Jackson is not involved in this because he is fucking dead. And I'm sure that he, much like with Elton John with Rocket Man, he probably would have wanted the people to see him as a man, because that's how he felt from what you have talked about in the 90s and 2000s was, and then if he lived 2010s and 2020s, is, you know, how he wanted the world to see him. Like, he's like, I'm just a guy wanting to make good music. I want to help people. I want to bring people together with my music and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I also like showcase all the hardships I did. And someone I know made a very good point of this. This just feels like a money grab from his family so that his family stays relevant and they can get money from Michael, because Michael was the biggest thing that happened to the Jackson family. So,
which I don't understand, because like Michael literally is still making money to this day. So
yeah, that's just from what this. But yeah, I just, you know, it's I just, yeah, as I agree with you. I feel like there should be more to this movie. Whether they're gonna actually do that, I don't know, but we'll just have to see.
Okay, so there's two more things I want to address. I kind of am contemplating on, you know what? Fuck it. Let's get to the nitty gritty, because I have something that I want to say.
I got something to say.
This is something that I've been holding in for years, and this is the one and only time. I won't say one and only time, but this is probably one of the fewest times where I'm going to be able to talk about it, and I have a platform to say something. So yeah, the controversy. I have something I want to say to everyone. Can I solo myself real quick?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna solo myself real quick. I'm looking at everyone who is watching this. You know what? Even if people won't see this, I have something I want to say. Michael Jackson, before I even get to my opinion, right? Is Michael Jackson a perfect person? No. Was Michael Jackson a naive person? Yes. As someone who is not a parent, me personally, I would not be comfortable with a person who I'm not really privy to, who I don't know that well, sleeping in sharing a bed with my child. That is just something that I wouldn't do. However, do I think that he is a pedophile? No. Do I think that he is someone that molested kids? No. Do I think that he is someone who would act? Do I think the victims are telling the truth? Absolutely not. No. I'm trying not to yell, but it's making me mad just talking about this. Leaving Neverland was nothing but a bunch of lying propaganda to get money off of Michael Jackson's name. That entire documentary was bull crap. There is a YouTuber, I forgot his name, but he goes detail by detail by detail talking about
Razor Fist is probably
Razor Fist. He has a 3-part series where he basically breaks down everything that happened that was talked about in leaving Neverland, and everything was nothing but a bunch of holes and a bunch of lies. Because guess what? Why would someone who was molested by Michael Jackson want keep all their memorabilia? Why would someone then, after selling the memorabilia, want it back? Why would and again, this is common sense, just me personally. If I'm a victim, right? No amount of money in the world could ever get me to shut up. I want that person in jail. I don't care about the money. I want to see that person rot in jail, put under a hole, and lock the key away or burn the key for all I care. And for the people, and I get it, okay? I get it. All right, I get it. Michael Jackson did not do the greatest job of making himself look innocent at times. He was very naive. I'm not going to defend his actions at all and say that he was, no, I'm sorry, Michael Jackson, but I get it. You wanted to have a childhood. You felt like you were missing something. I get that, but that was not the smartest thing to do. That wasn't the smartest move. However, I am of the firm believer that he definitely had enemies. He was the most powerful person in music. And these people were money hungry. Because why? Because even though, yes, it's weird for him to share a bed with a child, the parents allowed it. They never said anything. There's multiple people like Macaulay Culkin and Corey Feldman.
I would like to note that the whole sharing his bed thing,
it's not even like
that was not true. That was not true. Like, he stated that he did not. Nobody slept in his bed.
I did see a clip of him saying that though. So I mean,
but I remember there was a kid that was like, "Hey, can I sleep in your bed?" He's like, "No, I don't want you to sleep in my bed." He said that multiple. He's like, "No, you can't." He's like, you can sleep in my bedroom, but you can't sleep in my bed." And the thing is, and Macaulay Culkin would later say on Larry King, by the way, I would like everyone to know that his bedroom is the size of a house. Like, when they say sleep in my bedroom, it's not like, oh, hey, this like tiny thing. It's like his bedroom was the size, probably bigger than the entire house that I am in right now. There is also context for that.
His bedroom had fucking stairs.
Yeah,
exactly.
He had a 2-story bedroom.
So yeah, even that point, like, that's even inaccurate. But yeah, Culkin, Corey Feldman, heck, Aaron Carter's little brother. I think actually maybe it is. Wait, Aaron, the dude from the Backstreet Boys, his little brother, even he was saying how his parents wanted to was basically convincing him and telling him to basically lie and say, "Oh, he molested me," to get profit. So fuck you. If you believe that he is a pedophile, fuck you. If you believe that he molested kids, fuck you. And if you believe all this propaganda, honestly, I can't really blame you, because the media does a really good job of trying to. Literally, people can believe anything. Like, people believe anything that's being shoved in their faces.
As the great Winston Churchill once said, "A lie has made it halfway across the world before the truth can get its pants on."
Oh my God, Caleb, I'm so glad you mentioned that. Those Epstein no. He did not have a relationship with Epstein. That is BS, and they only released those photos to basically distract everyone from the real person who's actually a pedophile, and that is literally in the Oval Office right now. Because you know what? They people knew what they were doing when they released those photos. I don't even have to explain that, but and also, I want people to realize, you do know that the FBI was stalking him and basically doing an active investigation for a decade. And
And
if
they
the
raided his-
FBI, if the freaking FBI, the Federal Bureau Investigation Unit, cannot find any evidence against Michael Jackson,
They
if
found
the
nothing.
FBI cannot find any evidence, they could have planted something. They literally could have planted something, and you still could not find anything against Michael. You want to know why? Because he's innocent. He is innocent. Oh my gosh. And the fact that I have to be on the internet. There was this one video of the streamer like who was talking about how he believes that, you know, he actively believes that he's like and it's like, you know what, you're entitled to your opinion. If you did your research and you were led to the conclusion, you know what, that's your opinion. But you have your opinion. I have my opinion. I've done my research. I've done my I know what I know what I saw, and I know what I heard. Hell, my best friends thought that Michael Jackson was a pedo, and I literally gave them the information and the research that I found, and I changed their minds. It's that simple. It is literally that simple to look up and do your own research. And that is what I advise everyone to do. Do your own research. Do your own research before you think of anything about Michael Jackson. Do your own research. Because yes, again, Michael was not a perfect person. Yes, he definitely had weird tendencies, but he was not a monster. He was not a pedo. He's not a molester. He's not any of those things. He's not any of those things. It's I don't think you understand how hard it is to be. I don't think you understand. The FBI investigated him for a decade and found nothing. If that does not tell you that someone is innocent, I don't even know what is. Because it's not like you can get rid of evidence. It's not like you can just get rid of evidence under the FBI's nose. It's the freaking FBI.
I'm just gonna let's see. Where is it?
I'm sorry. I just needed to get that off my chest because literally whenever I see on the internet people making fun of Michael Jackson, first of all, fuck you for making fun of, like, people always make fun of Michael Jackson and his appearance when he was white and everything. Y'all can go fuck yourselves. But also people say that he's a pedo. This is literally what I have. This is literally me every single time I see a comment or a video.
You are wrong. All of you are wrong.
You are all wrong, and you're nothing but blind sheep, either hating on Michael Jackson to be funny, or you're hating on Michael Jackson because you were fed misinformation. Which again, I can't blame you. Literally, I was Michael Jackson for Halloween. I'll even tell a fun story. I was Michael Jackson for Halloween sophomore year in college, and I went to a college party, right? And I was Billie Jean Michael Jackson. So I went to a frat party. I'm literally minding my own business, and this one white girl looks at me and starts and screams at me, and I'm like, "The fuck are you like?" I'm like, "What are you screaming at me for? Did I like do something to you personally? I don't even know you." And her friend was like, "Oh, I'm sorry about that. She's just afraid of Michael Jackson. She's scared of Michael Jackson." And I'm just like, all right, you know what? If you don't get out of my, literally, this was me when I heard that. When I heard that, this was literally me.
You need to shut the fuck up.
Like, shut up. And it's I'm
You know
telling
what
you,
it reminds me of? It reminds me of that scene. Well, Devin will know what I'm talking about. Jay, I don't know if you saw this movie, but American Fiction, where it's like towards the beginning of the movie, and it has Jeffrey Wright, a black
I
man,
haven't seen that movie, but I want
is
to.
dropping the N-word because it's within context of the book that he's talking about. It's like a historical kind of, I think he's like a historical fiction professor, and he's talking about like the N-word, like history of like, black people, all that shit. And like this, like, fat white girl with like dyed hair and a nose ring. She's like, saying the N-word is offensive. And it's like, honey pie,
It's offensive if you say it.
I'm black. I think if I can get over it, so can you. And essentially, he's just like, go fuck yourself. And then he gets in trouble because he told this white girl who eventually left the class because she couldn't like handle being around the N-word. He got in trouble and he gets put on leave because he made the white girl offended. But it's just like that's what's so fucking funny about like the whole virtue signaling argument. You have literal black people who are like dressing up as Michael Jackson thinking it's okay, and then white people getting offended for the black people. It's just like it makes no sense. It makes no fucking sense. And I could go on a whole diatribe about it.
Just watch
but
the
this damn stream has already gotten on way too long. So anyway.
Yeah, like literally, like I mean, I'm on Hinge, and if people know what Hinge is, it's a dating app, and literally, I cannot tell you how many times. Oh, it's usually a white girl. I'm not trying to make the stigma. I'm sorry, but I have to say it. I cannot tell you how many white girls in their Hinge prompt. If anyone in the chat knows what Hinge is, you'll know what I'm talking about. There is a prompt where you put there's an option where you can put my most irrational fear, and I kid you not, the amount of times where I've seen my most irrational fear is Michael Jackson. I wanted to throw my phone at the wall. That I wanted to throw my phone at the wall. But you're right. This is literally gone on. Like this is literally a lot. Literally, seriously, all I gotta say to round this out. People who shit on Michael Jackson and try to tarnish his reputation, y'all can go fuck yourselves. The evidence is clear. He didn't fuck kids. He didn't molest kids. He was literally found innocent and it was acquitted on all accounts. The only reason that he settled, the only reason why he settled the lawsuit in 1993 was because he was told that was the right thing to do. Even though Michael Jackson did not want to freaking settle the lawsuit, but he was practically coerced into doing it.
His mom told him not to do it.
Like he was basically, literally, like that is the
reason. Also, because I think he starting his tour at that point and he didn't want it to take away from the tour, so that's why he also did it.
No. Who are you talking to, man? I'm talking with my friends online. We're talking about the Michael Jackson movie.
Hello, Jay's friends. Should we get to our final verdicts?
There was one thing, like one other thing I wanted to talk about, and that was pretty much just like why we hate like music biopics. Yeah, because I mean, music biopics are pretty much just like it's not gonna stop anytime soon.
Like, and then the two parodies that showed what's wrong with music biopics never are cult classics at best. So, unfortunately, we will never properly showcase as to why these are a problem. And as long as they keep making money, as long as they're popular, it don't matter.
Like, yeah, I can't even.
I think I just read an article that said Michael just passed 700 million worldwide at the box office.
Yep, this is gonna make $1 billion, or at least get close.
Well, yeah, it's Michael Jackson.
I don't think it'll make as much as Bohemian Rhapsody, but it will get close. I think it's gonna trickle down to maybe like 875, maybe 900 million.
I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody, how much did that make exactly?
915, 16, I think around, or 945, something around there.
$910.8 million on a $55 million budget. That's actually impressive. I can't even lie.
Yep.
Now, Michael, the budget is like up to 200. It's like it ranges from like 150 to $200 million. So, yeah, but I would say that. I mean, within the last like how many years? Like, I mean. I swear, like we've had like maybe like 30 like music biopics in the last like 5 years, like 5 to 10 years. And I mean, biopics have been a thing since like forever. But like, when did it when did it really become like a mainstream thing to like do it so often? Was it really? It must have been straight out of Compton.
No, it was long. I think they were kind of sporadic in like the 90s. I mean, you had like a couple like in the 70s and the 80s, and like Coal Miner's Daughter, the Gary Busey or the Buddy Holly story where Gary Busey played Buddy Holly.
I mean, the
Then-
James Dean TV movie.
Yeah, then I think like I want to
Doors.
say like somewhere in the 2010s, maybe the late 2000s. That's when they really La Bamba was another one that like
Rob,
that was like
Rob
kind of
brought
on
up
the
the Doors.
rise.
Yeah, Rob brought up the Doors. There was also Selena.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, Selena was good. So Selena was good.
I've heard the Doors is good too.
I
Like
need to watch the
some-
Doors.
Like Selena was good. Ray, Ray was. Ray. Pretty much a lot of people consider Ray to be like the best like music biopic.
I liked Ray. I loved Walk the Line.
Yeah, Walk the Line was pretty good. I watched that in like class one time. And yeah, I watched Walk the Line. It was Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon, right?
Mhm.
And Reese Witherspoon, she won an Oscar for that movie.
I think maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but honestly, like, yeah, to round it out, yeah, like my biggest issue with this film, though, like, and again, I do like it, but my biggest issue with this film is just the fact that it does suffer from the stereotypical biopic curse of like we start with the origin of the person that we're seeing the movie about, and then we see they're talented, and we have to be tongue-in-cheek about certain things because that's what happened in real life. And then once they become famous, we have to do a montage of all their greatest hits and all their biggest accomplishments in a very quick montage, and then we talk about the downsides of their career, and then we that which is the lowest point of the film, and then we jump to the highest point of the film where it ends with like a montage. It cuts to a montage of so and so sold how many records in their lifetime, and they're either if that they're alive. He's currently literally like basically what they did with Rocket Man, but Rocket Man was good though. I like the ending of Rocket Man.
Yeah,
I like the ending of Rocket Man because that was probably the smartest way they could have ended it, because especially with I'm Still Standing being a song that originally, the meaning of I'm Still Standing and how they used it in the film was done very like well. Instead of him, talking about I'm still here in the music industry, it's more so like a triumph of like, I'm still here. Like I am still alive. I'm still kicking. I'm doing something about my life, and I'm going to, keep pushing because I'm still standing literally. But yeah. Well, biopics, literally, it's only a matter of time before we get an Eminem biopic. On it. Oh God.
Eminem.
Oh God. We're getting an Eminem biopic. Even though Eminem will probably be like, fuck no, but we're probably gonna get it. Apparently
Right.
we're getting a Beyonce movie.
We're kind of reaching the 2-hour point. I gotta.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I have work in like 10 minutes, so
Yeah,
okay.
I have work
So,
tomorrow.
yeah.
So we gotta wrap up, man.
All right, yeah. I'll just rapid fire the rating. I probably have the highest rating out of all of us. I give it a 7 out of 10. John, what's your score?
5.5 out of 10.
Right Dude's score was a 4 out of 10. And Devin, what was your score? Oh crap.
I have it at a 4 out of 10, but honestly, like the more I talk about the movie, the more I think about the movie, the more I don't like it. Like I'm debating whether or not this should make my worst of the year list.
Oh no, not worst of the year.
And I will say I did want to mention this before we exited out. This is what I think
The
they
movie's a
should have
mess.
done. I don't think Jay is going to agree with this, but this is how I think it should have been done, especially with how big Michael Jackson is, and especially with how the Beatles biopics are going to be done. I think Michael Jackson's should have been a trilogy. Now, before you yell at me, I think the first movie should have been about the Jackson 5, and then it ends with Off the Wall. That's how it should have been. The second movie should have been about his solo career, and then it ends with the allegations as much as you can show in 1993, and then the third movie is about the rest of his life, which is 93 to 2009. That's what I think it should have been, because then all the underdeveloped stuff, all the undercooked stuff, all the inaccuracies could have been mended if you had like 3-hour movies talking about the growth and fall of Michael Jackson. I think that would have been interesting because I feel like miniseries could have been good, but with how big Michael Jackson, he needs like big budget treatment, and I think it should have been movies.
He does.
And 2.5 to 3 hour movies, that would have been much better. That's just my opinion. Anyway, final verdict: decent movie, very flawed. I had a fun time, but very flawed.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, honestly, like it's kind of a miracle that I even like this film because Devin was like, dude, like, are you sure you like this film? Because you have like a lot of, stuff to say.
You're starting to sound like Zach with Scream 7. I think you're in denial.
I'm not in the. I can like something but still have problems with it. I mean, I like No Way Home, but I can admit that movie is filled with so many problems.
Yeah, maybe the sequel or maybe a director's cut will improve my issues, but
honestly, yes, I
story
think
and
a director's cut
really bring it down.
Yeah, we definitely need a director's cut, and we need a director's cut bad. But
Michael deserved better.
anyways, yes, he did. He deserved better in this film, and he deserved better in life. We didn't deserve him, man. But anyways, what's the next movie? I don't know what the.
I think it's Passenger.
Yeah, our next review is gonna be Passenger, and that'll be hosted by Zach.
All right. Well, it's been real. I am the world's biggest geek, aka Michael Jackson. It's been a pleasure, and Jamon.
Jamon.
Once again, we brought light into the world. You're welcome, America.
You're still here?